Audioversity, the voice of Reichman University.
מה, את פריירית?
נאה, ממש לא.
Confessions of two reformed Freiriots. Showing you the chutzpah needed to survive. With my Bini and Ariel Goldman.
Hello and welcome back to the Confessions of Two Reformed Freiriots. You're here with Mai.
And Ariel.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We came back another week after Chag, after Shabbat,
After everything. After the last episode where half the episode was just talking about weddings.
So yeah,
and
how was
things
the
that we
wedding from
do.
this week?
It was a lot. It was really beautiful. Like I get so emotional at weddings. I haven't cried at a wedding yet. We'll see. Time's
Hope
ticking.
you're crying at yours.
I was like, ah. But it's just such a beautiful thing, and you see everybody, and I feel like you get to know everybody's community, like people from both sides. But that was my first Dati wedding, I have to
What
say.
level of religious was it?
Modern Orthodox. Dati Lomi.
Okay.
So it was light. It was just when he explained to me that it would be different, I was like, okay, I know they dance separately. I know, no. Everything was different. They dance the hora. Like half the thing is just dancing the hora. And for us, it's not like that. Like we twerk on the dance floor. It's
At a wedding? I don't think that's mekubal at the Dati wedding.
It's much more of a party for us. And for them, it's a party, but it's like
But it's a different kind of meaning. They
Yeah.
put very different meaning behind it.
And there's speeches.
Yep.
And I just, there was a band.
Yeah.
There were 3 singers. I felt like I was at a concert.
Was there the band was playing as she was walking in?
The band was playing as she was walking in, and also afterwards, Baulam, like in the everything.
That's impressive.
And then later I talked to somebody at the wedding, and she's like, yeah, what did you think of the band? What did you think of the singer? And I was like, sounds great. But I've never been to a wedding like that. And she's like, what do you mean? Your weddings don't have bands? I was like, no, we don't have bands. Like,
we have a DJ?
We have a DJ. This man puts Spotify and pretends he's doing this. And
wow.
It all works.
And where was it?
It was in Casalia. It was beautiful.
Oh, gorgeous.
Wow. It was close to the beach. Like, we didn't see the beach, but it was close. And they did it right when the sunset was happening.
That's
like
incredible.
she was walking down, and it was beautiful.
That's amazing.
How was your week?
It was good. I had all of the Mesibot Teva that we were talking about last time.
Nachon. How were they?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
It was uns music?
It was all of the music that you do not like, yes.
It was uns.
And then come back and we start school again. And now we just talked about this. We have 4 weeks left.
Yeah, we have 4 weeks
until
left.
the semester's over. And that is crazy.
Yeah. We're still going to come and record.
Of course.
Because we need to get to at least 12 episodes.
No, 10. Last year we did 10.
Last season was 10?
We can do 12.
We can pick whatever we want. My first season was 12, I think. I'm not sure.
We could do 12 for sure.
We can do whatever we want.
But anyways, we have a good season this time. So we just have to keep going with it over the summer. You're just going to have to keep coming back.
Yeah.
To campus.
I'm going to be 4th year, 5th year.
Darn it.
As many years as needed. But we promised the first episode and the second episode that we'd start bringing guests. So obviously we had to start keeping the promise. And today we have a very special guest. We're really, really excited. We think it's a perfect way to kind of open the season with guests because it connects so much to the lone soldier world and the Ole world. And today's guest is someone who has lived the lone soldier experience from every angle and from a special angle that me and Ariel kind of can't really give because
we don't see that perspective.
We don't see that perspective. And she's a mother of 4 lone soldiers that were 4 lone soldiers out of 5 boys, which is crazy.
Incredible.
And she is the executive director of the Michael Levin Lone Soldier Foundation. And that is all I'll say before we introduce her. So let's bring her on.
Welcome, Stacie.
Yeah. This one. Hello.
Thank you so much. It's so nice. I'm so happy you invited me.
No, we're so glad you came. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, about the foundation?
Sure. So, like you said, I'm a mom of 5 sons. Yes, no daughters.
Wow.
And 4 of them made Aliyah and did the army. They were in Sayeret and like no mother approved tafkids, like just but very proud of them, obviously. Probably equally proud and worried. It's just comes with the territory. It's hard being a lone soldier mom. You're very far away, and especially with my first son, Adam, who actually is a graduate of IDC/Reichman.
Really? What did he study?
Government, anti-terrorism.
Nice.
Very cool.
And I have two sons, actually. Also, Eitan was a graduate. He's my second chayal. So, when the first one comes, you don't know anything. You don't know, like, this. I like to joke that my conversational Hebrew is the level of a relatively bright 2-year-old. But my Army Hebrew now, with 4 kids being chayalim, my Army Hebrew is mamash amazing.
Yeah, you could draft into the army yourself.
But Army Hebrew is not real Hebrew. So, they start throwing words at you, and you're learning this whole other language that's a language within a language.
Yeah.
And so it was, I like to believe, I do believe that each Chayal Boded, they're on their own journey, but each parent of a Chayal Boded also on a journey, because you're standing beside your kid, and you have to be that support without really understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
And so, it's, like I said, it's hard, but you're so filled with so much pride. So yeah, one drafted after the next, and I started doing kind of volunteer work for lone soldiers, and then I was approached and was hired to be the executive director of the Michael Levin Lone Soldier Foundation.
Amazing.
So
It's an incredible step.
very special organization. We are the only lone soldier organization named for Michael Levin that was established by Michael's parents, Harriet and Mark Levin. They are incredible people. I mean, they're an inspiration to take something that has to be the biggest tragedy of any parent's life and to make it into something so meaningful to so many people. I mean, thousands and thousands of lone soldiers and many thousands of lone soldier parents. So I'm honored to be the director and to work closely with Mark and Harriet in helping to serve the needs of lone soldiers.
Amazing. Can I ask you about how your sons actually came to want to draft to the army, or at least how the first one did, and then the rest kind of were like, okay, we'll also do it?
I get asked that question all the time, because it is obviously a little unusual to have so many kids who are inspired to make Aliyah and to serve in the IDF. And I don't have a real answer. Obviously, they grew up in a Zionistic home. So I think part of it is they all grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana. So very, very
Have you heard of
small.
that place, Mai? When you
No,
asked me
I
where she's
haven't.
from, I was like somewhere in America.
No, I
okay,
haven't.
I don't know.
It's in the middle.
Okay.
It's in the middle.
It's in the middle.
It's
Okay.
a very small Jewish community.
Okay.
And the school there, the Jewish school, always brought in shlichim to teach.
Okay.
So there was always like 4 teachers in the school that were Israeli. And, especially with boys, they're enamored with the army, and, this one was a sniper, and this one,
Yeah.
But I do think that they were really inspirational to my kids to see, like, what you could do for the Jewish people, and maybe what you should be doing for the Jewish people. So I think that played a part in it. And, if you ask them, they won't say one followed the other. And in a lot of ways that has to be true. They each followed their own path. They didn't have to go. But, I was grateful that so many Chayalim Bodadim, they have, others to talk to, but my kids had each other. And, when I talk about language and the army language, like, they spoke the same language as soldiers, as Chayalim Bodadim, as Olim. They really could talk to each other, and I'm really grateful for that.
Wow. And did any of them, did they come through a program? Did they make Aliyah in different ways?
They all made Aliyah in different ways.
Okay.
So Adam, my first one, came to do a program here in Israel that he wasn't particularly satisfied with. And so he, after one semester, he had a friend that was doing machal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about machal, never heard of it. He said, I have a friend, he's drafting to the Israeli army, he's doing machal, and it's just 18 months, and that's what I'm going to do. And I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe it's good, it's structure, he's, he can't just quit.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought machal, it's not for citizens. So I thought it's not really the army. Like he would be guarding garbage cans on some yeshuv. That was my assumption. I really thought that. It's not. Machal is the real army, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
I might have given it more thought if I had really realized that.
If he gave you a little more detail.
Yeah. So I'm not sure he even really understood. Like he just said, this is what I want to do. So he goes into Mikveh Alon. And he did Yom Sayarot, and he got into Sayeret Golani. And so he calls us. He said, so, by the way,
FYI.
Yeah, just a little side
I'm
note.
going to make Aliyah, and I'm going to serve for 3 years, because back then it was 3 years.
Yeah. No garbage cans.
And I was like, what?
Excuse me?
So he drafted in 2013, and he wasn't yet finished with training when Tzuk Eitan happened in 2014. In fact, he was home on Miyuchedet.
Wow.
And he came back, and for Sayeret, they trained for 15 months ish, and so when he flew back, we thought he went back to training. I just assumed, like, he's not done, so he'd already 7-8 months, I don't know. And we have a friend whose son was in Golani, and we knew he was in Aza. And one day he says to me, oh, yeah, my son saw Adam. And I was like, what?
Oh, my God.
What do you mean? Because Adam hadn't
Said
called us.
anything?
He hadn't said anything. But it was not unusual not to hear from him. He was, in training. He didn't always have his phone.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't unusual. We didn't know.
Wow.
So that was our introduction.
To the army?
Straight away.
So, by the way, your son is inside of Tzuk Eitan and doing... Wow.
And every couple of years, there's just something else. So it's not
Okay.
even like, oh, I wish he would have drafted that year. No, every year there's just a different operation or a different thing.
So part of my job is to talk to other lone soldier parents.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I'm on a million... I'm probably on as many WhatsApp groups as Israelis.
Oh, my. More. I'm sure that you're even more.
So many parents WhatsApp groups for parents of lone soldiers, and anytime somebody's first drafting, and or I talk to a parent, I'm like, okay, I'm just wishing your soldier a boring but meaningful service.
That's a good wish.
It's a good sentence.
Yeah. When did you realize that all of this was bigger than your family? Like, when did you realize you wanted to kind of come and touch so many and help so many other families?
It happens gradually. So I don't think there was a revelation. Like, first one drafted, and then I had 2 in at the same time. And then I had 3, actually, Sadir, at the same time.
Really? They're really close to each other?
Just a very short period of time, like a month maybe. Wow. I had 3. I think when it's a personal experience, you don't see how big it is. But maybe the first time I really realized, and it was way before I worked for the foundation, was we came for Eitan's Tekes Kumta. And he's also Sayeret Golani, and he, in Golani, I don't know how many, there are different rules for different units, but you can march the last 2 kilometer on the Masak Kumta. So So I'll tell you two stories from that experience, which I think really brought a full circle for me in some ways. So we are at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning waiting for them to come and so that we could march with them. And the parents start to gather and we're sitting there and there's another family and there's a guy who's probably my kid's age also. He's sitting there with his father. So we start talking to him and he said, I was injured and on a masa, and I had a soldier, somebody from my team was so like encouraging to me, and he stayed back with me, and he like pushed me to, keep going and finish. And then he said I had to, stop, and he was injured. He couldn't do the Masa Kumta. So I'm here for my team and for this soldier. And I'm going to get teary.
Okay.
So we, the kids, the soldiers all come. And so we're marching, and my son is holding the alonka. Yeah, that's right.
The stretcher, yeah.
And
So you
he's
could
like-
join the army.
and he's holding it, and this kid goes behind my son and with his hand on his back and pushes him. It was my son who had stayed back with him, and now he was there for my son.
Wow.
And he's an Israeli kid, and he's like, this is part of my family, my team. And so
I have goosebumps.
I know, me too. I'm like,
it was. I have a picture, and it's. And actually, I write occasionally blog piece in Times of Israel, and I wrote something about that and showed that picture because it was so. Wow, and then during the tekes, so our son Adam was, I don't know, they were out in the shetach, whatever. He wasn't going to be able to come to the tekes. And at the last minute, they let him out. And he came, and it was amazing. We were so wonderful. And we ended up being able to stand right next to where Eitan was. Like he was at the end of the line. Worked out really well. So we're there, we're watching, not paying attention, and everything's in Hebrew. And, so we're just watching. And then all of a sudden, it comes time for Eitan to get his kumta. And Adam comes and switches out the mefaked, sorry. And Adam gave his kumta
No
to
way.
Eitan. And I was like, wow. And he gave him his kumta, he gave him a big hug, he gave him a zetz. It was like,
That's it. You're official.
so I felt like, they're brothers, and they're brothers.
Yeah.
And they're brothers.
in all those sense,
Yeah.
like from all
Yeah.
the angles.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah.
Have you seen that kind of experience with your other sons that later came to the army kind of connect in a different way, or it was more of the older two of them?
I think they all did connect. Being a Chayil Boded is hard. You know that. It's really comes with some very special challenges. And I'd say that all of them experienced those challenges. So while there's amazing things and the team members are, great, and some of the mifaktim are and some of them aren't.
Yeah.
And there's, so I think one of my kids said after he finished the army, it was the best, worst experience of my life.
Ditto.
Yeah. It's a great way to quotation. Get
I'm
t-shirts.
stealing that one. I don't know which one of them said that, but I'm stealing that.
Yeah. Wow. And you said that you learned a lot as a mom of a lone soldier. So what do you think was the biggest learning experience? And maybe if there's other moms that are listening that are mothers of lone soldiers, my mom, I can say, what would you maybe say to them or kind of want to share from your experience?
So, like I said before, we're on a journey too.
Mm-hmm.
This is such something that we can't understand, and even if we try. And you know what? It also depends on your soldier. There are some that aren't as open with their parents, don't have as good communication, and those parents are on an island, you know. So I think that my biggest advice is try to connect with other lone soldier parents. You know, you're not going to find my family, my friends are so supportive, incredibly supportive, but they don't really understand. You know, even when it's their nephew or their cousin, it's not the same. And my friends, you know, are incredibly supportive, and you know, through this last few years, you know, it's so wonderful to see. It feels so good to have people who, you know, support Israel and support soldiers and the IDF. But yeah, for parents, it's another thing. We worry constantly. And even when, you know, your kid says, I'm fine, it's fine, you know, you still worry because you're so far away. So I think my biggest advice is to try to connect with other lone soldier parents. There's so many WhatsApp groups out there, and there's a Facebook group just for moms, all private, all vetted, so that we keep our soldiers safe. And then I would say call the foundation. We have an 800 number. I'm the person you'll be talking to. So call, email, you know, because I'm part of my job, and probably one of the favorite parts of my job is talking to other lone soldier parents. You know, I get to share my experience, but also because I've been doing this for so long, not just as a lone soldier parent, and now with the foundation 6.5 years, I am connected to a lot of other organizations that help Chaylim Bodedim, and really, like, if your soldier needs something, maybe I can help and call. But if also you just need to, you know, vent, I can listen, and I can understand. I truly understand.
Yeah. It's amazing.
She hasn't been through it once. She's been through it 4 or 5 times. It's a lot of experience.
Like in Hebrew, there's always that like saying, like "Zar lo yavin." So
a stranger won't understand what you went
through. A stranger won't
through.
understand, and I think we as lone soldiers say that a lot. Like at least like most people I talk to, it's like "Zar lo yavin." Like people, like you said, you have family and friends that support you, but
it's not.
But you don't get it. So a lot of my Israeli friends, you know, they're like trying to be there, and they invite us to shishi and stuff like that. I'm so grateful, and I love you. But you don't get it. Right. You don't get those little moments. And I guess that's with everything in life. Like, just like I'll try to understand my mom as much as I want. Like, I want to. I won't really understand what she's been through. So that's amazing that you are a person that's experienced that, and you can come and, you know, share that with other lone soldier parents.
So I'll tell you a little funny story. And I was talking to one of my kids on video call, and one of his roommates came in, and he wanted to introduce me. And I think they're both Sadir. And so, but my son was maybe towards the end of his service, and this kid comes in, and he introduced. I said, "So where are you serving, and how long have you been serving?" And I don't know. He was just like F2, I don't know, really early. And I said, "Oh, you're so Tzair." And he said,
"Oh, damn."
He said, "Did an American mom just call me Tzair?" I'm like, "Honey, this is my 4th lone soldier. I have so much more pazam than you. I can't even tell you."
She can't get into the army. Look at that.
Oh my
She's
God,
ready
make you
for
a
it.
matkal, bro. Like, what is it? I love it. Yeah.
My pazam with all of my chaylim. There you go, Stacie.
Little Tzair. I love that.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So we'd love to hear more about the foundation, like who Michael Levin was, what the foundation does on a daily basis, projects, things like that. Anything you'd love to tell?
Of course, I would love to. Michael has a really incredible story. So, you know, I am been really honored to not just work with Mark and Harriet Levin, Michael's parents, but also to I call them my friends. Now, and so I've heard a lot of stories, and we also have a documentary about Michael. So Michael was a Zionist his grandfather, Harriet's parents were Holocaust survivors. So, he came from like that level of Zionism, and he always just wanted to serve in the IDF, moved to Israel. So he made Aliyah, but way before there was Nefesh B'Nefesh. So he went to New York, he got his paperwork, he flew to Israel, and according to his parents, he slept on a park bench for the first 2 nights. He didn't have a place to live. He didn't have a place to go.
Wow.
He kind of figured that out, and I think he lived on a kibbutz, but he went to he was in Israel, and he didn't get his tzav rishon. He just didn't get the paperwork. He didn't get the paperwork. He kept going to the office and saying, I'm here to draft, and they said, "Where's your paperwork?" And he said, "I don't have any." He's like, "So I'll leave. You can't come in."
Bureaucracy in Israel.
To love the buckle.
So,
Bless.
So one time he went, and then he left, and he went around to the back of the building, and he saw there's an open window on the second floor. Now, Michael was a very small in stature person.
Okay.
So he saw this window on the second floor, and there was a dumpster. So he pushed the dumpster to the building, and he climbed up in through the second story window, which was a bathroom. And he gets in, and he goes out, and he finds the office, and he goes into the office, and he sits down, and the guy says, "Okay, where's your paperwork?" He said, "I don't have any paperwork." He's like, "Son, you can't get into the building without paperwork." And he told him what he did, and he's like, "Wow, okay, let's get started."
Wow.
So he was very determined, and he was in San Chanim, 890, and his dream was that when he finished the army, he's going to start an organization that helps lone soldiers in a way that he didn't have that help. You rent an apartment, you get a lease, it's all in Hebrew. You don't know what's what, and you don't even know culturally how it works. You go to the grocery store, and everything is, in Hebrew, and, speaking Hebrew and reading it, and then knowing it. It's a whole nother level. So there's so many things you don't know about the army, about the culture. And, like you're saying about, your Israeli friends want to invite you, and you're like, I don't know about y'all, but my kids were like, I just want a whole Shabbat where all I hear is English.
Yep.
My brain just can't.
Yeah, the brain.
I need a rest.
It's exhausting.
It is.
And I like sometimes I get people who want to invite, I want them to come for Rosh Hashanah. I'm like, that is so amazing that you want to help. But I'll be honest with you, they don't want to be on. And they just want to be like relaxed with their friends speaking English.
Yeah.
So he really wanted to start an organization that helped lone soldiers in any way possible. So he was, in 2006, he was home on Miochedet. His family lives in Philadelphia. He was home on Miochedet, and the Second Lebanon War broke out. He just couldn't stand it. He needed to be back in Israel with his team. And so he cut his Miochedet short, and he flew back to Israel. And he came in, and his unit had already gone north. And he had to fight with everybody to get to join his unit. And he was so tenacious about everything, from his tzav rishon all the way through, that he finally got in and joined his unit. And unfortunately, he fell in Khan Yunis. This year, it's his 20th year at site. Wow. So it's really incredible. And, Michael's parents tell the story that his funeral was on Tisha B'Av.
Wow.
And so they came to the cemetery. They flew in and they came to the cemetery. They were sure that this was Michael's wish, that they knew it was Michael's wish to be buried in Israel. So they came. They didn't have any family here, nothing. They came to the cemetery, and they were afraid there wasn't going to be a minyan. They came, and there's all these people here. And Michael's father said, I was sure it's a war going on. I was sure there must be so many funerals going on. And, how are we even going to get a minyan? How are we going to do this? It turns out all of those people were there for Michael. That a truck had gone through the city of Yerushalayim saying a lone soldier from America had been killed, and the funeral is going to be at this time. Harriet says they were like up in the trees. There were thousands of people there for them, and that's Israel. Like, you see it, unfortunately, on and on and on through all the wars and through these last couple of years, that Israel is there for lone soldiers. So Mark and Harriet took this dream of Michael's and they established the foundation. And what we do is we are a funding source. We're not a service provider. There are a couple of other organizations that also carry Michael's name here in Israel. We're not a friends of organization. We do fund, give a grant to one of those organizations. We're not affiliated with the other, but we are a funding source. Most of our board is made up of lone soldier parents, including Mark and Harriet, and so we really understand what lone soldiers need and what will have the greatest impact on those needs. So we find and we fund those programs and services that have the greatest impact. And, I'm here in Israel now. It's one of the favorite parts of my job to see the work that's being done with the grants that we have allocated, to see in person, to talk to those soldiers and hear how this has helped them, everything from Shabbat meals to mental health. We funded an organization that does surf therapy, to cars that can help bring care packages or go to Tekasim or visit their soldiers in the Shetach. So just a supply closet where soldiers can just walk in and take a pair of socks and deodorant and whatever they need. So it's really, it fills me up. It's inspirational to me because the other part of my job is raising those funds to then be able to allocate. We're a very small organization. I am the executive director. I'm also almost everything else.
She takes a seat
Classic.
in the table, the round table. She's every single seat.
Right.
There you
Talking
go.
to herself. Like, what do you think today?
I'm an excellent advisor to myself.
That's amazing.
So we have one part-time person that does our, some of our admin stuff. But the goal is I raise money and we give it away, the majority of it. 86 cents of every dollar raised, every donation dollar goes to soldiers.
Wow.
So for me, fundraising is hard. It just is. And I really get so inspired by being here and seeing these soldiers and talking to the incredible people who run the organizations that help these soldiers. The passion that they have, it's amazing. So I get inspired and I can go back with this fullness of this is all the incredible things that and I saw for myself, and here's a picture and here's a video, and so I love being here, and I also am here to talk to other organizations that might be seeking funding. So I'm learning about all these other organizations I didn't know about. And keep in mind, I've been a lone soldier mom for 13 years, And I've been doing this for 6.5. There's so many more organizations
are.
out there. Some of them are very niche. They do one thing. Some of them are very broad.
Some of them only started now and not 10 years ago. And so
Yeah.
it's only figuring out what they do for the modern, I don't know if that's a good word, but like the now version of the Lone Soldiers versus 10 years ago. You're right. It's a very different perspective.
That's right. That's right. And really, before Tsukeitan, there were very few organizations that helped lone soldiers. After Tsukeitan, there were 3 kids in Golani that were killed in Tsukeitan that were lone soldiers. And I don't know, that caused like sort of an explosion of lone soldier organizations that are helping lone soldiers. So since then, and you're right, since October 7th, wow, like exponentially. So
It's the awareness of it. And I also think we speak about it more, but it's also from the other side that people that don't know anything about lone soldiers come and ask, oh, how many are in your unit? Or what happened to the lone soldier on October 7th? That everyone knows what happened to, it's a very big community that even after the 7th, it just exploded even more.
well, and there are more and more lone soldiers. The first
Yeah.
Michve class after October 7th was the largest ever.
Because
Wow.
it did, it brought a lot of
It was inspirational.
People
Yeah,
they're
in a
running
twisted way.
these
It was
kids,
inspirational.
and sorry, y'all are all kids. But you're amazing kids.
Yeah.
But they are running towards this, and it's
Yeah.
wow, like you can't even understand how that's something that they feel so strongly about. So yeah, and right now, although we fund programs across the board that, the examples I gave, probably our biggest priority right now is mental health.
Yeah, there's
I
been
mean,
a lot of
Unfortunately, last couple of days, there have been,
suicides.
yeah, and so many suffering from PTSD, post-trauma. And that's not going away. Actually, that's going to grow.
Yeah.
Because I see how so many are, well, I don't have it so bad. What's so, maybe, and then could be 2 years from now, they realize, no, you know what? I need help.
Yeah.
Now I see I need help. So it's one of the things that we are making a priority. We fund an organization that does one-on-one therapy in 8 different languages.
Wow.
Because if a soldier needs to process their trauma, they don't need to be breaking their teeth to think of the Hebrew word for something. Like, let them do it in French, in English, in Russian, and whatever language that is their native language, so they can feel like really process. So we fund one organization that does. I mentioned we fund an organization that does surf therapy, and I came to that because one of my kids did it. He said it's amazing, really, really helped.
Wow.
So we're looking at other kinds of different alternative therapies. I'm talking to a couple of organizations that provide different kinds of alternative therapies. And, Israel, as always, on the forefront of a lot of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, that's going to be just a growing need.
That's an incredible push for the
Yeah.
organization.
So I have a question actually about reservists, because it's a big debate and dilemma, I feel like, in the lone soldier world, where what happens the day when a lone soldier gets released and they get called to Miluim, to reserves? In my head, they're still a lone soldier, because at the end of the day, yesterday, he might have been on paper a lone soldier, but today his family's still not there. So where does the foundation kind of meet reservists, especially after October 7th? Do you feel like you're able to reach them? And how do you see that kind of like community grow? Because I feel like it's grown since October 7th,
October
the
7th.
amount of reservist lone soldiers. Like you said, like your son wanted to come back from Yuchedet. Michael at the time wanted to come back. Like a lot of people came back and they moved. So like, where does that meet you guys as a foundation?
Yeah. So The foundation never took the IDF definition of lone soldier as the population that we were serving. Our mission is to serve lone soldiers before, during, and after their
Amazing.
service. Now, 15 years ago when they wrote this mission, there was no Miloim that Sevev Aleph, Bet, like
Yeah.
Sevev, hey, what am I on
Yeah,
now?
I don't even
Like,
know.
6 different rounds.
Unlimited.
Right. So, you did
It
a
was
few
once
days
every
here,
5
a few
years
days
or
there,
something.
and,
Yeah,
I mean, my kids would do like 3 weeks.
Right.
Here, but, go to training in between.
Right.
So we were ahead of our time in helping soldiers, and guiding them beforehand and helping them during. And then after with, we fund an organization that has a resource center for Miloim Nakim to do everything from, filling out scholarship applications to making a CV to jobs. They provide mentors. So we fund 2 organizations like that. So we have always been supportive. Our funding has never excluded Miloim Nakim. And, even before that, like someone signs Keva, they're no longer a Chayal Boded. I thought that was the craziest thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
What?
I mean,
Like,
when
all of
I
a
was a
sudden-
Ktina. it's
Yeah,
the same.
I remember because of COVID, I couldn't fly home throughout my whole Sadir service. So I told them, now that I'm an officer, COVID kind of calmed down and things opened up. I was like, could I please use my miyuchedet even for 2 weeks, because I know I'm an officer and at the end of the day I need to be here, but I haven't seen my family in 2.5 years, so I'd really like to go home. And they would just refuse. And I was a welfare officer, so I was in the community
So
of the
she
people that were
knew
supposed
what her
to
jobs
help.
were, yeah.
And I remember coming to one of the heads and I was like, listen, I'm not asking for much. I'm not asking for more money or amana. I'm just asking to go home for 2 weeks. I'll pay for my ticket. No, we can't do that. You're not a lone soldier on paper anymore. And I think that's where the army kind of, maybe it's better now. I'm not sure, with flexibility, but it's so set in its ways and it doesn't know when to shnia, bend
So
when it
black
needs
and white,
to bend.
and yep, exactly.
And that's why I didn't continue in the end, because I had such a hard times with the fact that it didn't bend. Because on one hand, at the end of the day, it is the army. It is here to, defend us, and I get it. But on the other hand, it's hard when everyone needs to draft, right? It's the only army in the world where everybody in the country needs to draft, and I think there does need to be a little bit of a understanding. It struggles a bit with that.
I had one kid with the same experience over Corona.
Yeah.
I think, and it's so funny because Israelis are so
Rule breaking.
not rule followers. I think that's one of the things that lone soldiers struggle with the most.
Ken.
Yup.
They're rule followers, and all the Israelis are like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Or
Yafeh, bol.
or one of the you asked me before about advice to parents. This is another one. Most units have a WhatsApp group for parents.
Yep.
Okay, what army has that? That's
It's true.
anyway. And you say to your kid, please join me to the parents group. There's no parents group. Yes, there is. I want to get on it. Well, it'll all be in Hebrew. I don't care. I have Google Translate.
Yeah.
And actually, if for parents, you get on this group, you say you're a lone soldier parent, somebody contacts you off the group, guaranteed, at least one. I'll help you, no problem, whatever we can do
Amazing.
for your soldier. So it's really, there are, so many ways that that they can be helpful, and so many things that the army is just no for no reason. So I think some of that's changed since the war. And now, so I wanted to go back for 1 minute. There are 12,000 lone Miluim Nakim.
Toraf. That's
so
crazy.
8,000 lone soldiers Sadir and 12,000 Miluim Nakim. Lone Miluim.
So
it's
many
a lot.
people came back. Nobody talks about the people who
Wow.
came back.
I didn't
So-
realize that number. Okay.
So I'll give a personal story. Two of my my soldiers moved back to the States. One was living in Miami. He worked for an Israeli company. He served in Tzuk He was my first chayal. And on October 7th, he called us and said, I'm getting on a plane as soon as I can. October 8th or 9th, he got on a plane. No tzav shmona. He called his mem. He's a magist. He called his mem and said, I'm getting on a plane. And his mem said, fantastic, because I already signed on your gun.
I knew you would
We
be
were
here.
expecting you. Come on.
So he came, and he was in Tzuk Eitan, I think, was 54 days, something like that.
It was a long.
He came with a suitcase, and he figured he'd sleep on a friend's couch for, a couple of months, and whatever. He was here for 2 years,
Wow.
and he was in and out, and they kept calling his unit back, and in and out, and in and out, and he wanted to stay. And this is another issue, and it's something actually an organization we're looking to fund to maybe help with that. But he looked for a job. Every time he's finished with a sevev, it takes a while to, a month for sure, to not be physically and mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
And then to turn your head to normal, some sort of normal
Routine.
life,
Yeah.
normal routine, and then start looking for a job. And then 2 months later, you get called back, or 2 weeks later, sometimes you get called back.
Okay.
So he finally, he couldn't find a job here. He looked and looked and looked and looked, and
It's crazy.
It's
it just
exhausting.
didn't happen. Yeah. And he said, I can't, he's, I think, the only lone soldier in his team. So the rest of his team goes back to their family, to, a wife or a girlfriend and a job. And he kept coming back to nothing.
Nothing.
He said, I can't keep doing it. I just can't. So he found a job in Miami. He moved back.
Wow.
So it's unfortunate. And I think that,
It's very
and that's
unfortunate.
another thing that we need to be, as a foundation, but also, outside of that, really concentrating on helping these Milamimnikim with jobs. It's
Especially when they want to stay in the long run.
Well, one of my other kids, he started a job this was last year in February. He'd been in Miluim, then he started a job in February. He was supposed to be called back in July. They called him in April. He served through August. He came back to his job, and a few months later, they laid him off in November.
It's technically illegal. I don't
Yeah.
know how companies are getting away with
wasn't
this.
just him. It was
The whole
company,
Machlaka thing.
their whole team, whatever. I don't.
Pisses me
And
off.
but
Again, it's
end
hard.
of November, and he didn't even bother looking for. He's kind of started, but he went back to Miluim in January.
Yeah.
There's no.
You don't
time.
catch a break, and I understand that because I've been called back since October 7th. I've been called back every 6 months, at least for 2 to 3 months, and it's just exhausting every time. It's in the middle of school, it's in the middle of your job,
Yeah.
whatever it is, it pauses your life, but you can't not go.
And I don't know how Israeli society is functioning. I don't know how y'all are students are keeping up with anything. Have, because not just the absolute break in study, but then also the coming back and to wrap your head around where you were and what you were doing. And then now I'm going to sit in a classroom and listen and try and pay attention. And so, and it's that way with a job. And I don't know how, in terms of economics, the country functions when, people are leaving jobs for, 90, 100 days at a time and then come back and then back and forth. And
It's incredible. We keep going.
yeah, listen.
No explanation.
There's a
באמת.
lot of resilience, and everyone talks about the resilience of Israelis, and it's true. When I came now, I had a friend who doesn't have very much exposure to Israel, and talking to them, and they said, "Oh, is everybody on high alert?" I'm like, no, I'm sitting in a cafe. No one's on high alert. Maybe deep down, everyone is
In
on
the
high
subconscious,
alert.
yeah.
As everyone's feels that hovering, what's going to come next. But I think that you still have to keep going, one foot in front of the other. One, like you're not gonna just. You hope that you're not going to just shut down. Obviously, there are people who are doing that and not able to. So the foundation is working to help with all of those things.
Amazing. Wow. It's so important to like raise awareness for that, and that's incredible that you're doing that. Before we wrap up,
yes,
we love asking our guests this because it's our favorite question.
Yikes!
No, it's a good one. It's a good one. To raise the mood.
Ariel, would you like to ask her?
Sure. Okay. Wait. No, I actually have two.
Oh, you have two. Okay.
I have two. One, because you also have the army language Hebrew. You have regular Hebrew that you know. You have English that you know. What's your favorite? No, it's okay. What's your favorite Hebrew word that you've learned, or from your boys, or from being here?
Ariel loves this question.
You can take a minute. It's okay.
Favorite word. I mean, listen, I think everybody's favorite word is sababa.
Okay.
Sababa.
Chaim Shali.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice.
So I don't know. What's my favorite army word? Probably Pazam.
Pazam. Sa'ir.
Sa'ir.
You're saying. I love it. Okay, and to wrap it up, this is the one that we always ask everyone is, do you have a moment that you remember, or being in Israel, or claiming that you're Israeli Jewish, however you want to take it, as a friar moment that you were like, this is so not what I expected? Or do you know what friar means?
I do.
Okay. So has that ever been
friar moment? I think I find the grocery store very intimidating.
My friend does too.
Oh my God, you can't find which one is cream cheese. But I think friar more like so this is a really stupid one. Usually I would say parking, because I get a parking ticket every single time.
Really?
Pango, I know I have it. Is it? No, I always get a parking ticket.
You won't get one here. You're okay.
Okay, good. I know. I asked the guy who's sitting there. I roll down my window. I'm like, it's okay to park. He's like, yeah. What do you want?
The parking
like,
security guy at the front.
I'm like, am I allowed to park here? I'm going, no, why are you asking?
Just park, lady.
Okay. Anyway, this is really, it's not, maybe it's not Israeli, but I just didn't understand it. I went someplace and I pushed the elevator button, and I didn't realize it tells you which elevator is coming.
Ah, okay. In those offices where it's like A, B, C, D thing.
Okay. I'd never seen that before. So I'm standing there and I'm like, waiting. And there's a security guy there. And he starts screaming at me. You never saw an elevator before. I'm like, oh my God.
I just wanted to go up, okay?
Goodness. Because then it tells you what letter in the elevator, because they only go to specific ones. Oh my goodness.
That wasn't your problem. That was his problem. It's so mean.
Friary kind of.
It works.
Yeah,
it works.
Everybody has their own, like perspective of that.
Yes.
So.
Well, that was the one I was most embarrassed by, because I'm like, I
know what an elevator is. Okay.
It's just everything's all high tech and fancy here.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
It's not like the American elevators where there's just two of them.
Some of them have like 8. Yeah.
It's all of the buildings that
You'll be standing next to like E, and then they'll be like
it's
A,
like
and you're
and you have to
running
go all the way
there. It's crazy.
Okay, so now I'm well informed,
Yes.
elevator wise.
Yes. Well, thank you, Stacie. It was great to have you. I hope you enjoyed as much as we did,
this
and it
was
was
so
great
much
to have
fun.
a different kind of conversation than we usually do.
Yes. And could you just say maybe to listeners how Lone Soldiers can find the foundation? How can they contact you? Social media, anything?
Absolutely. So we Facebook, Instagram, website. So it's important, because there are a couple of organizations that I think most people are more familiar with here in Israel that carry Michael's name. Make sure that when you put in Google Michael Levin Lone Soldier Foundation. Put in the word foundation. You'll find us right away. You can contact us by filling out a form on our website, by calling. However, just we want to help, and I'm here to do that.
Yeah, amazing.
Thank you so much.
We'll add the bio in the. We'll add the link to the foundation in the bio description, so people know exactly that that's the foundation, and then it'll be easier for people to go and
if
reach
you're a
it.
lone soldier mom and you want to connect with Stacie,
Yeah.
and you want a
I
different
mean,
kind of
me a
connection,
call.
Yeah.
There
Even
you
about
go.
elevators.
Yep.
She will help you
you can
now.
talk about anything.
She's well equipped with this.
I love it.
And that's it. We're so happy that you were our first guest. And, you know,
For this season, it's going to be
For
a
this
great one.
season, yes.
It's going to be a great
Thank
one.
you. I feel honored.
Thank
we're
you so
so
much.
happy you came. And that's it. In the meantime, don't forget, don't be a flyer. Bye.
מה, את פריירית?
נאה, ממש לא.
Confessions of two reformed Freirioch. Showing you the chutzpah needed to survive with my Bini and Ariel Goldman.